Let's be honest, it's pretty well documented that most New Year's resolutions don't even make it through January. But you know what? I still think it's a great time of year to make a change because emotionally it has that fresh start feeling. And besides, after all that indulging we did during the holidays, kind of juiced up and ready for a change. So if you're going to give it a try, give yourself a fighting chance by avoiding these 7 fatal mistakes that so many people make and try my 7 strategies instead. And if you can, hang in there for 6 and 7 because I never hear anyone talk about them. And for me, they're the 2 most important ones that help me come through it and still have my sanity. Hi, I'm Catherine. If you're new here, I'm deciding to rewrite my story at 60 because you know what? It's never too darn late to start. Okay, let's jump straight in with number 1. Don't make a typical resolution, make a plan instead. Okay, so here's what I mean by this. How many times have you heard someone say, or even done yourself, when they make a resolution, they say something like, I'm going to lose 20 pounds, or I'm going to start going to the gym every day, or I'm going to quit smoking. That's all great, but that's not a resolution. It's a wish list. A wish list without any plan behind it is going to be on next year's wish list too. You have to marry your desire, your resolution, with a specific plan. And just, by the way, winging it every day actually isn't really a plan. So if you're wondering how to make the plan, start with your wish list because we have to start somewhere. That's fine. Okay, I want to lose 20 pounds. So then put the word how in front of it. How am I going to lose 20 pounds? That'll get you going on how to make your plan because answering that question needs to be specific and needs to have some action steps. Number 2, don't make a resolution in a bubble. You have got to create a supportive environment around that. So what do I mean by this? So let's say you're going to give up sugar. You need to get rid of the cookies and maybe buy some healthy food on the day that you start so that you have a way to actually do it. Let's say you're going to quit drinking. Okay, what are you going to reach for on a Saturday afternoon instead of a beer? Buy some beverages that sound a little more fun than just a glass of water for the 20th time for the day. If you're going to start eating healthy, maybe you have to tell your husband, look, I'm sorry, I can't make this kind of food for at least a couple weeks for you because it's going to be too hard for me. Okay, so just don't do it in a bubble. Okay, number 3, this one is so important, and I'm amazed at how few people understand this concept. It's a really important one. Forget about setting end goals and instead just set behavioral goals. So what do I mean by this? Don't say, I'm going to lose 30 pounds. Say, okay, each day I'm going to eat whole foods and no sugar. Maybe that's your daily goal. And every day, give yourself the privilege and the thrill of checking that day off. I ate whole foods and no sugar today. Some days maybe you won't. It's okay. If you do that most of the time, that weight is going to fall off. 30 pounds is so far away, and it doesn't really have any action steps because it's a multitude of steps. Forget about it. If you do the behaviors, the result will come all by itself. And I'm going to tell you a real quick story about this because this was such a big deal for me. When I first went into sales, I had a sales mentor and I really didn't know what I was doing. And he said, well, what is your goal? And I said, well, I want to make $200 a week or whatever it was at the time. And he said, well, forget about that. How many calls do you have to make? How many appointments do you have to go on to make that? And so I told him, and he said, that's your goal from now on. Forget about how many sales you're going to get. Just focus on making your calls and setting your appointments. And you know what? Number 1, what a relief, because on Monday, that goal seemed so impossible. But making my calls, I could do that. It took so much stress off me. And guess what? It worked. I never, ever, ever set a goal again. And that was so significant to me that even though that was over 15 years ago, I still remember that like it was yesterday. Number 4 is also so important. Don't be too aggressive at the beginning. I know we get all fired up and we're like, oh, I'm going to do all this amazing stuff. Then reality sets in a few days into it. Usually we're really good the first couple days, but day 3, day 4, day 5, we start to lose momentum. Start small. What if you just start small to begin with and be good with that and get good at that small thing and let it grow because it's a new behavior. Don't shoot yourself in the foot by putting like unrealistic expectations on yourself. Number 5, also a big one. You can't be vague. Be as specific as possible and track daily what you're doing. So here's what I mean about being specific. I'm going to eat healthy. That's vague. I'm only going to eat vegetables, lean meats, healthy oils, and no sugar. That's pretty specific. The more specific you can be, the better, because you want to wake up that day and know exactly what you're supposed to be doing. Because if there's any wiggle room, you're going to find it. Okay, we all know broccoli is healthy. Ice cream, not so much. What about a broccoli souffle and puff pastry? I mean, it does have broccoli. Like, don't leave room for this kind of justifying the stuff you really want. Be so clear that you know yes or no. There is just no gray. And you got to track it and track it every day. This ties into being flexible, and it also ties in to being realistic. Guess what? You're going to have some days where you don't meet your expectations. This is going to happen. If you plan for that and you're okay with that, you will be so much better off. If every day, though, you can have a specific thing that you wake up in the morning, you know you're supposed to do, you can check it off when you do it, and that feels really good, by the way, you will stay on track. Okay, number 6. Number 6 and number 7 go so closely together, and really all of these go so closely together. But number 6 is don't be all or nothing. Let's say, oh, I'm going to quit smoking cigarettes. Okay, great. Maybe by day 4, you have a fight with your boss and you can't take it and you go outside and you have a cigarette. Oh, it's ruined now. Forget it. Might as well just go buy a pack. No, be flexible. As long as you have a plan, you will succeed eventually. If you give up the plan, it's over, game over. So what if you said, okay, I guess I'm going to have a couple cigarettes today, but starting tomorrow, my plan, I'm going back to the plan. Or maybe you'll say to yourself, oh, I thought I could do this, but this is too much too fast. Maybe I'll cut back on my cigarettes for like a month. And I'll only smoke like these certain cigarettes until I get used to not smoking constantly all the time. And then I'll gradually cut them back. That is still a valid plan. Don't bail on your plan just because it goes a little wonky. It's going to go wonky. So don't go into it having this all or nothing, win or lose kind of mentality, because that's like asking for death. Okay, number 7, and honestly, this one is so important and people don't ever talk about this. Don't beat yourself up when you wander a little bit off the path. Be kind and loving and patient to yourself. It's so amazing, and I know I'm guilty of this, and I think a lot of people are guilty of this. When it comes to people we love, we're kind, we're loving, we're compassionate, we're patient. When it comes to ourselves, no mercy. We will not budge. We will beat ourselves up. We are so mean to ourselves. And I want, it's easy to say, okay, yeah, I got it. Yeah, and do lip service to this. I want to give you an illustration. I want to kind of reframe this so I think you can have a clearer picture of this, because it's so hard to see stuff when it's about us. It's so much easier to see when it relates to other people. So let's suppose that you're potty training a toddler. Okay, for those of you who have done this, it requires a little patience, okay? But you know what? We are pretty patient, aren't we? The first time they don't make it to the potty, do we yell and scream at them and spank them? No, because they're going to freak out and never want to use that thing again. You're asking them to do something that they've never done before that's totally strange to them. You're asking them to stop doing that thing they've been doing since they were born, which is go to the bathroom in their diaper. Sometimes they're going to be wrapped up in their play and they're going to hold it too long and they're not going to make it, or they're going to forget to do it, or they're going to be tired and not functioning really well. Guess what? Just like us. We are going to have days like that. Just go in knowing it. Go in saying, it's okay. It's okay. One day at a time, everything is fine. Because the truth is, every day is a fresh day. You need to track every day. And when you have a bad day, it's over. Forget about it. Don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. Pardon the expression. Now we're talking about toddlers and babies and bathwater, but it's okay. Expect that and be kind. You know, so many things out in that outside world are mean to us. Don't be one of them. Be loving to yourself, because any type of progress, even plans that change, as long as you have a plan and you keep on trying and you don't give up, you will make great progress. And you have a whole year, for crying out loud. So what if it's January 15th? You got plenty of time. Wake up and make every day a fresh day. Why don't you subscribe? We can do this together, and let's all have a great year. So I have a little confession to make. Planning isn't exactly my forte. And one of the biggest mistakes I make a lot is I overplan or I overcomplicate my plan, and then I can't follow up with my plan. So I have put together a simple template. I have condensed it down and made it simple enough that even I can follow it. And in a video coming up soon, I am going to go through my plan and how I am going to approach my New Year's resolutions. And I'm going to walk you through it step by step. And I think I'm even going to share the template of my plan with you and make it for free for anyone who might want, like the way I'm going about it. So look forward to that. It's coming up soon. And when it does, you'll find that right over here.